For the fun. We're getting Facebook Live now. YouTube should be coming along shortly as well. As always, I'm going to be answering questions in the student group, in the brown belt group. As always, I'm going to be answering questions in this brown belt group. As always, I'm going to share this really quickly. All right, we are officially live. I'm about to share this into the brown belt group. Give me another 30 seconds and we will start answering all of your amazing questions. If you're watching on the Kevin David page, come to the brown belt group. If you are a part of the course, that's where I'm going to be answering questions for the most part. If there's ever a delay in questions in the brown belt group, which is for the course students, then I'm going to be answering questions on YouTube. All right, we're live officially. What is up, YouTube? What is up, brown belts? Sebastian, Ashley, Ada, Arnisha, Gravity, Richard, Sveina, Canada, Lotel, Guabayi. What's up, guys? All right, we're officially live. There's about 50 people watching in the brown belt group now. Bjorn, what's up? Joel, what's up? Jillian, I see that heart. Alex. Joel, will Amazon allow one person to buy 8 different products from your lineup and leave reviews for all of them? Probably not. I mean, they might, but I wouldn't do that. The most that I would ever do, especially if you're using full price, if you're doing promo, you could probably get away with like between 2 and 5, but if you're doing full price, I would definitely not do more than 2 products per person. What's up, Brad? Thanks. It's just an optical illusion. Hello, Kevin. Ni hao from China. We're in Shenzhen watching you live. Nice. Jeff, what's up? What time is it in Shenzhen right now? What's up, guys? Hey, everyone, if you could help me out, if there's people in the black belt group, tell them to come over here to ask questions. If there's people asking questions on the Kevin David page, tell them to come into the brown belt group because I want to answer every single student question we can. While you guys get going, I'm going to answer a couple in YouTube really quick. What up, T-Roy? What up, Andrew? Andrew, I recognize you. Come into the brown belt group. What's up, Renee from NorCal? Hey, I was living in the Bay for a while when I was at Facebook. Hood Cleaning Miami. What up? Alfonso, Zane, Francisc, Elise, Scott Cravens. Yeah, you finally caught one live. Aren't you freezing right now? You've been naked. What's up, Estelle? 8:05 a.m. What's up? Nice. You're up early. Do you have another recommendation for a forwarder? The one you recommended has a waiting list right now until October. Oh my gosh. All right. Is that both Kelly and Mandy, Brandon? Because I can find some other guys. I've found that if you use smaller international forwarders, they're just significantly cheaper, but they can't necessarily keep up with the demand from our group as it's growing. So that's on me to find the best quality, lowest cost forwarders for all of you guys. So if we need another one in addition to Kelly and Mandy to fulfill everyone's orders and to be able to supply quotes for cartons and stuff like that, just let me know. And I'll do some research tonight, and I'll find the student group another super high quality, super low cost forwarder for everyone. Thanks for your help today, Kevin David. Yeah, of course, Alex. Do you know what's better for improving Amazon ranking? Keyword search on Amazon to find and purchase product, or Google search keywords and click on Amazon link to purchase. There's no question whatsoever that it's in Amazon. However, there's a dual play there, right? Because traffic alone is actually better to rank on Amazon from an external source, but sales within Amazon is the best possible ranking capability, full price Amazon sales is the best possible rank weight that there is. But let me clarify what I meant by that, because if you drive traffic from Google or Facebook or whatever onto Amazon but they don't purchase, that is worth more than if you drive traffic from within Amazon to an Amazon listing. And let me tell you why, right? Think about it. If you owned Amazon, would it be more important for you to have people come from another website to your website? Because Amazon is incredibly efficient at creating sales and upsells and selling people more than what they intended to buy coming to the site. So bringing people from outside sites onto Amazon, Amazon wants to reward that, and so they give you higher rank. But the biggest ranking metric still is within Amazon actual sales. I'm shipping via air for my whole production run. Would you use EXW instead of FOB, or still send to a port for the freight forwarder to take over? I use FOB. I mean, you can, if you really care, like, you could probably save a few bucks getting like a quote from your freight forwarder to ship it from your factory in China to the China port. But I just don't care that much about like saving 20, 50 bucks. But so I just do FOB so I can compare quotes, right? So if I have multiple freight forwarders, I'll get 2 quotes. If they're within like $50, right, I'll probably take the lowest one if the quality is similar. But if it's like way off, right, like go get an international quote, or go get a quote from like FBA Forward or one of the United States based forwarders, and you'll see why we use the forwarders that I recommend to you guys, because they'll charge you $5,000 and our forwarders will charge you $1,500. It's ridiculous. But it's not ridiculous, because people just don't know. And people who are just starting out on Amazon see FBA Forward and like the other, it's not just them, it's the other USA-based guys too, and they say, yeah, I mean, they're just the one I knew about. I've seen them in webinars, right? They're marketing the heaviest. They have English speaking customer service, and it just seems like a good deal because you just don't know. And then once you kind of figure out that you can get the exact same thing from an international freight forwarder for $5,000 less, it's a rude awakening. Does Amazon give you more ranking boost if one person buys 10 of your items, or if 10 people buy one of your items? I feel like these are like word games, Joel. The answer is if 10 different people buy one of your items. I was invited to become an Amazon business seller. What are the advantages of this, and what are some tools that I should put to use right away? I mean, there's not a huge advantage. Pretty much everyone gets invited to this. You get like business sellers, right? So people who will like write off Amazon purchases on their taxes for like small businesses and stuff. And so they're more willing to purchase like higher quantities of things is the only difference I've really noticed. I've gotten like some business sales for some of my different Amazon accounts, and people will buy like 4 or like 10 instead of what normal people buy is like 1 or 2. So it's worth doing because it's just like checking a box. It's super easy, but it's not like you have to like refocus your Amazon strategy because of it. Oh, hey, sup, was just chilling here, then your face popped up. Yeah. Sorry if that startled you, Joseph. I'm meeting with Lucky Lucky today. They come highly recommended. Is Lucky Lucky a freight forwarder, Jeff? It's not good. I was looking to start looking for a forwarder tomorrow. Damn typhoon set my shipment back. Where can I find Kelly and Mandy's info? Carlos, if you check the common questions document in the pin post of the student groups, both brown belts and black belts, I list their actual personal emails. And if people are starting to tell me that they're getting overwhelmed and they're not replying fast enough, or they're not being able to fulfill orders, definitely make sure you guys tell me that. If I see enough people saying that, then I will find us another freight forwarder, and I will 100% make sure that they are the cheapest and best quality possible available anywhere. What do you think of wholesale? I don't think particularly highly of wholesale. I mean, I have a guy in my mastermind for 7-figure plus sellers that does like $10,000 a day on selling on wholesale, but he makes like a 10% margin. So he's making $1,000 a day, where he's generating $10,000 in revenue, making $1,000 a day, and then there's people selling in private label who are selling $1,500 in revenue and making more profit than him per day, which is just ridiculous, right? So it's just so much more orchestration and logistics for a very small margin in most cases. And wholesale is usually just like a kind of a race to the bottom. Amazon obviously only cares about their customers. They always have. It's been a huge thing, right? So from Amazon's perspective, they want the cheapest possible prices for every single product, and that is the purpose of wholesale. And so I wouldn't want to, you get good at what you do. I wouldn't want to commit a bunch of my time and life to learning a type of selling that is dependent on being the absolute lowest price, right? Uh, hey Kevin, can you cover your process of prepping for fourth quarter? Yeah, Kevin, there's actually a video that I made specifically about prepping for fourth quarter. It's in the very last module, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure some of the students know the order of everything better than me by now, but I'm pretty sure it's in the very last section. It teaches you exactly, when you have to ship the latest buy to get into Q4, including all the, additional processing time and things like that. It talks about how to tell if a product will be successful from year to year, right? Because just because a toy was super successful in Q4 last year doesn't necessarily mean it will be again this year. But there are some clever ways that you can figure out whether or not an item is going to be, hugely popular again in Q4, and then how to prepare for it. And I did a video specifically on that, Kevin. The students voted that as the topic that they wanted me to do. So yeah, go check it out. I think you'll like it. One second. Hey Kev, I heard you're gonna do a special US/Canada session setting up taxes. Any idea when this will happen? Yeah, Andrew. So I have a buddy who does, high seven figures on Amazon. He operates out of Canada, sells in the USA market and in the Canadian market. We will have him on a webinar sometime this week, and he's gonna talk about everything. He's gonna go on live. There's not gonna be any BS, right? I'm gonna send him the questions so he can, be slightly more prepared for them, just because not everybody likes to answer questions on a live format because it's kind of nerve-wracking for some people. So he's going to take a look at all the questions that Sue is compiling for all of our Canadian students, and he's going to answer every single one of them until we're done. And he just is doing that because, he found a lot of value in the mastermind that I invited him to, so he wants to give back. So it's going to be super, super valuable for all the Canadian sellers. Not only for the Canadian sellers, but for people, who are just out of the country and just want to kind of get the mindset down of how you operate in the U.S. from a different country, from a tax perspective, and from a company, business formation perspective, and things like that. Yes, lucky are freight forwarders. Jeff, I'd love it if you could if you have a shipment coming in soon, get a quote from Mandy, Kelly, Freightos, and Lucky, and let's do like a case study that says, which one is the lowest, if it's similar time frames and things like that, because I'd love to, it's always good to add more high quality, low cost freight forwarders, and we have such a powerful, bargaining force now that because we have so many different members who are making all these shipments, right, that we can really drive the cost absolutely down, which is obviously going to improve all of our students' profit margins by a significant factor. I'm trying to price my product as a premium product, and every other seller on Amazon is selling it around $10. How long should I try an increased price like 12 to 13 to see how sales turned out? Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways you can do this, Joel. You can do listing dojo or splitly, right? And you can just run it for 7 days, a split test that has like one price at $9.95 or $10.95, and then you could have one at $14.97, right? And you can just split test it. You can do it with your title as well. I think a lot of people would be surprised thinking that people, shop on Amazon specifically for the lowest price, but that's not how it is. People associate higher costs with higher quality. It's a natural trend, right? People have been trained to do that. It's the same thing with jewelry. It's the same thing with a lot of different things, right? Cars. So I think that a lot of people would be surprised by the fact that having a higher price does not necessarily lower your sales. Sometimes it can actually increase it. Thanks for answering all my questions, Kev. You're one bad ninja. Thanks, man. Did you see the new email? I just got it today from Amazon about simplifying returns by implementing returnless refunds. They say it's highly requested by sellers, but doesn't seem to be in our favor. Any thoughts? So I know for some stuff, Bjorn, and I don't know for sure, so I'm gonna take a guess here, and I'll tell you, right? Because if I don't know, I'll always tell you guys I'm guessing. I would guess that certain products cost more for Amazon to actually go through the return process than it does, for them not, right? So I don't think that this will come out of our pockets. I think that I think it'll become more important to know how to request reimbursements, right? Just how I explained in, I think it's module 8, right? How we made, I think I made $7,000 or something like that back in a day just by submitting one report to Amazon. It was crazy, right? So people need to know how to submit these reimbursements. Amazon disabled the automated reimbursement services. It's funny, actually. After I taught this other guy how to do it, he created this software and kind of screwed me over, or he tried, but then Amazon shut down his software. But yeah, I mean, it's super easy. Any of the students in the groups who don't know how to do the reimbursements, just message me and I'll forward you to the place in the modules. But it's pretty cool because, right, Amazon makes a lot of mistakes, like every company. So they'll lose your stuff. They'll not credit you the appropriate fees for a return. There's all types of different scenarios, and so you have to double check their work, right? And they're actually not that terrible at agreeing with you if you submit it in the right way. And so we have a very detailed video on, there's 5 different methods of submitting reimbursements. If you do all 5, if you've been a seller, right, and you've sold a lot of stuff, I 100% guarantee you will get a lot of money back using these reimbursement methods. So that's my guess, Bjorn, but I haven't seen that implemented on my stuff yet. I would assume that simplified returns are only for certain products that are more expensive to process returns than just to let the customer keep it. Do you recommend using my supplier's shipping agent? They offered lower price and faster time compared to Kelly. Yeah, of course. I always say get 2 quotes first sourcing, right? And the reason for that is, first of all, you want to make sure that they're close, right? Because if somebody says $5,000, somebody says $2,000, there's got to be something going on there. But if somebody says $1,500 and somebody says like $1,425 or something like that, then you know that it's probably pretty reasonable, especially if they're not connected. So it gives you a sense of comfort. And then yeah, if you feel comfortable about the quality, right, and it's a big enough difference in pricing, then definitely go with the cheaper option. My friend is into wholesale. Can he wholesale from Alibaba, China? Yeah. I mean, I don't know a ton about wholesale, Edwards. I mean, when I first started Amazon FBA, I did a ton of research about what type of, arena that I wanted to master and dedicate myself to, right? Because there's retail arbitrage, there's wholesale, there's tactical arbitrage, and there's private label. And there's no question about it that private label is by far the most profitable. It's easily has the most longevity, right? And you don't have to deal with all the just absolutely scummy Amazon sellers that are just undercutting you constantly and just battling you with repricing software and all that type of stuff, right? It's not completely easy either, but it's definitely the most, long term in my opinion. So I would assume he could probably wholesale from Alibaba, but I've never done it myself. Again, it's really the lowest benefit way to sell on Amazon besides retail arbitrage. Hey Kev, I'm getting stuck on sourcing. Not sure what the deal is, but these manufacturers on Alibaba are consistently quoting substantially higher than the high end of their listed prices range on their product pages. Even though my RFQ order quantity is higher than their listing MOQ, I don't get it. I can't find a decent margin. Okay, so you're saying that the manufacturers are quoting higher than their list price. So their list price means pretty much nothing. It's just it's like a historical number they typed in years ago. Like they probably don't even know what it is. It's just to entice you, right? So they'll oftentimes quote you significantly lower list prices, and then when you actually go to talk to them, they say, oh, well, for 500 it's 10, but their list price is 2, right? It really doesn't matter a ton what their list price is. It's very meaningless. If you can't get high margin, if you can't get a decent margin, it's because the product is incorrect, right? If you're actually truly doing your due diligence, if you're messaging 10 different manufacturers, you're leveraging them against each other, right? You're getting formalized quotes and you're changing the MOQ from 1,000 to 500. You're changing the per unit price from 5 to 3, right? And nobody's budging at all, and you can't find a good margin. That means that the product's just not right. So you got to go back to the product research stage. The Q4 video is in the Student Ninja Extras module of this course. Yeah, it's at the very bottom. Thank you, Bjorn. Thank you, guys. I love it when students help each other because it helps me. It helps me create more content for you guys when you're helping each other, find stuff And I saw some people like Jessica and some other people helping people get into the new membership portal when ClickFunnels crashed. So I really appreciate when you guys help each other. It helps me, spend my time adding value more so than just kind of doing the logistical stuff. So I really appreciate it when you guys help. Thank you, Bjorn. Since it takes Amazon about a week or so to check in your inventory, when should you start promoting giveaways and also getting the verified reviews, knowing your product is not quite ready for fulfillment by Amazon? Well, you can't really do promotions if you can't sell your products, right? And I always say that, right, because if you're going to do the PayPal payback review stuff, right, then, right, and that's, again, it's against terms of service, but a lot of people do it. I want you guys to know what's happening. If you're going to do like the friends and family or use other students in the groups to get you those first verified reviews, I suggest doing that during the promotional periods, right? Because you don't want to, sell 10 units and get 10 reviews, because Amazon immediately red flags that, because that never happens, right? Nobody would ever 10 for 10 leave a review. It's just not likely. So to obfuscate, right, your review generation at the very beginning, run the review campaigns if you choose to do it during your promotional period, so you have like 10 giveaways at 95% off, and then you have 3 that you're giving to other students or friends or family or whatever that you're charging back full price on PayPal to get those 3 verified reviews, and then you have 13 sales in that day, right? And then it kind of obfuscates things. It doesn't look as sketchy. You're building your BSR. Obviously, you're running your manual keyword giveaways, how we teach in Module 4, to really boost that keyword rank and get you onto page 1 for what you need to. And it kind of all starts to work in unison when you do it that way. Do you think I should start with the UK market since they have less competition? Yeah, if you're more familiar with it. I mean, less competition is both a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because they have less competition, but they also have significantly less customers. So it just depends which market you know better. If you live in England or you spent significant amount of time there, then it helps. In the course, is there a video about the process of what happens when the manufacturer finishes producing your product? Like, do they put the barcode on? Do you have to ask them to do that? Can they print your logo and instructions for you if they send them the file? Yeah, so there's a ton of questions in this one paragraph, so I'm going to answer them in order. Yes, so if you have just one product, right, just make a custom, just make a box blueprint, right? And most manufacturers have, at least outsourced boxing factories where they can give you a blank template, and they say, this is where your logo goes, this is where the sticker goes, and then, in preview, or you can have a graphic artist do it. All you have to do it is just one time, right? You just create the box itself that has the barcode printed directly on it. It has your logo printed directly on it. Or you can have them apply stickers with your barcode to your box if you prefer to do it that way. So you just send them both the barcode itself for the product via PDF, right? You just print item label from your Seller Central, and you send them your logo. Normally they ask for it in vector, which basically means like an Adobe Illustrator file, so it's like super crisp quality, so it doesn't like print pixelated at all. If I'm using a freight forwarder, do they contact the manufacturer and take care of everything for me? I mean, you have to introduce them, right? It's all pretty logical, Carlos. Like, you just, make a 3-way chat on Skype and say, hey, this is the number of cartons, this is the weight, this is that, this is my freight forwarder, like, you guys can figure out the rest. That's usually what I do, because I like to spend as little possible time on shipping as I can. Jeff, yeah, Carlos, thanks for answering that. Also, is it normal to have a manufacturer response rate of less than 50% to RFQs? Yeah, I mean, requests for quotes are one way of doing it, but you generally, you get a lot of responses normally, but you generally get lower quality, right? Because the factories who are super high quality generally have people coming to them often, right? And they don't have time to respond to all these RFQs, because from their perspective, they probably generate, or they probably turn into actual sales significantly less so than direct messages. So use the strategies that I talk about in Module 2, Andrew, right, to like use the specific filters, how I do it on Alibaba, right? It's the best way to find the highest quality manufacturers. And then you start, once you have, 3, 5, 10 different manufacturers you're talking to, then you start to leverage them against each other. Then you start to, use 1688. Then you start to really drive those prices down as far as you can and, increase your margin. Is it true that Amazon will rank you better faster if you do giveaways at full price instead of at a discount? This is actually an interesting one, right? Because there's some disagreement here. I have personally found that Amazon gives you a better and faster rank for selling the products at full price. So if you're going to give away 10 products at 99% off versus 10 products at full price, right? And full price, you can't make it full price as $1. It has to be, within 50% of, or it has to be within a certain percentage of your, monthly weighted average pricing. So if it's a brand new product, you can price it at whatever you want. But if you have it for like a year and you're running promos to like get things back moving, and for the whole year you price it at $20, and then all of a sudden you change it to $5 to try to get full price, Amazon won't actually allow you to do that. Again, it has to do with the price band restriction that Amazon has. They're very smart, right? And so to get around some of these things, you have to be very clever as well. But the best way to do it, to answer your question without a long-winded answer, is yes, it is at full price. And then, if you are utilizing the power of the student group or friends and family to kind of build those verified reviews, paying back on PayPal, that is the best way to do it. But again, be careful, right? Because you cannot sell 10 units a day and get 10 reviews. So you have to spread out if you're going to choose to do that, which is a violation of terms of service. But most people do it out there. If you're choosing to do it, definitely do it during your product launch phase. It will help you, keep out of hot water with Amazon. Your live stream game is strong. Thanks, Nick. All right, I'm gonna go back to YouTube for a second because I'm gonna wait for a few more questions to come into the Brown Belts group. All right, if anybody's dying on YouTube to ask a question, post it again, because I see there's about 175 people watching right now on YouTube alone. So I'm probably not going to be able to answer all these because I'm scrolling up and there's a ton of different questions I already see. What are the percentage rates of actually getting a review when posting your product in review groups or JumpSend or anywhere? Low. I mean, JumpSend is incredibly low. I love Greg and I love all the software that he's put out. We're friends, right? JumpSend and every other service like it is just overpopulated by really bottom-feeding people now who, are just literally getting the product for a percentage of what it normally costs, and oftentimes they're turning immediately around and reselling it on your listing. So the best way to do it by far is manually, or if you are a part of the course, we've been using the student groups because it's large enough now that it's not like a one-to-one direct exchange for reviews. People can help each other out, especially for those first reviews, which is a huge help. Any experience with selling on Amazon France? No, but I mean, I sell from the UK, and you can fulfill to those markets. So I don't know much about the French culture. It's actually one of the countries in Europe that I still haven't been to. So I don't know much about it, but there are some French students in the course, and I'm sure that they could help you. Amazon UK is a good option, right? Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a huge up and coming market. They're British customers aren't as accustomed to Amazon. They aren't as addicted and brand loyal as the US, right? There's not as many people, obviously, so it's not as big of a market. But because it's not as big of a market, the competition is not as high. So if you do it right in the UK, you can make a ton of money. What are your thoughts on Keepa? Yeah, I mean, Keepa's good. There's a lot of different ones. Stock Stats, one of my friends makes. Anthony, if you're watching, shout out. There's a lot of different stuff that does kind of the same thing. Jungle Scout Product Tracker, if you're using just like the straight up iTrack 999 trick, is the most accurate, but again, it's tough to keep up with. It's very manual and it's not that much fun to do. But I always recommend at least 3 days of doing the iTrack method just to make sure that it is selling. You want to just make sure manually, even though I normally trust the product tracker. I normally trust Stock Stats and Keepa, but again, just that final 3-day verification manually doing the iTrack 999, it just helps. It helps for me to feel good about a product, and it helps for me to know for sure that I'm jumping in. Not sure if you've already been asked this, just joined, but are you still closing the course soon or keeping it open for a bit? I'm actually going to decide that during this live session. I've had probably 500 or more people message me or email me in the last couple days telling me they get paid on the 1st and that they really wanted to join the group, and that they are feeling really bad about missing out because I was going to close it tonight at midnight. And so I need to think about that and decide for sure what I'm going to do as far as that goes, because You know, my life goal is to help as many people as possible, you know, leave the 9 to 5 behind, leave that corporate slavery and that corporate drudgery behind. And by closing the course, you know, I'm helping all the people who are currently in there, but then the people who need a few more days or have been saving up to join it and are just gonna miss it, right? I feel terrible doing that, so I'm gonna have to decide for that. I'm gonna go back into the student group really quick. What happens if Amazon receives your products and some products fell out of the packaging during shipping? Do they just throw it away? What if the labels don't scan for some reason? Suppliers didn't print them out correctly. Would they print their own? So if Amazon damages your products, again, this is why it's important to do the reimbursements, Yulia. If Amazon damages your products, they actually will admit it normally, and they'll reimburse you for them. If they lose your products in their warehouses, they reimburse you. I actually had a friend who shipped in 500 units, and Amazon lost all 500 and paid him his full sale price for every single one in a single payment, which is obviously ridiculous, but you know, it happens, and Amazon normally actually is pretty good about this. If the labels don't scan, Amazon does have the capability of applying labels, right? It's an option during the shipping plan creation, so they do have the ability to do that, but I always recommend having your supplier do it because it's significantly cheaper. Do you ever recommend selling the same product on a specific keyword? If not, what are some ways to be different or recommend doing? And how do you know if your bundle is going to work? If the price might be too high, or they might just be interested in the product itself? Louise, can you ask that in a different way? There's kind of a lot of questions there. What do you mean by selling the same product on a specific keyword? Leave a comment down below and I'll answer it. Hey Kev, I was asking in YouTube, what does all the I symbols in Jungle Scout mean? Are people trying to hide their prices and listings from others? No, not normally. I mean, Sue, that basically means that there's a server error that Amazon or that Jungle Scout can't query that data, so it'll just put like a little. It's more like a placeholder for if they don't have accurate data for that specific metric. Have you ever heard anything about Fiverr not giving you exclusivity to your logo when you trademark? If not an option, other places. No, I mean exclusivity is enforced by the USPTO, Mitch. So Fiverr has no control over that. Once you go into registered status for your logo, you own it, right? They do a search for other trademark owners for that particular logo. And so once you get into registered mode, it's yours. Is the Canadian market... Edwards, it's basically just comes down to what you know, right? Is the Canadian marketplace any good or is the UK better? I would personally say that the UK market has more promise as of right now. But the Canadian marketplace, you know, has some promise too. I don't know a ton about the Canadian culture versus the US, right? I grew up in the US. I know much more about it. The marketplace is absolutely enormous. I always recommend, you know, the U.S. has so much space left for people to come in and really take it over, right? The Canadian market is much more spread out, right? Like 70% of the country or like 80% of the country lives in that like one little strip near New York, right? And so, you know, it's a huge, very spread out country. It just doesn't have as big of a market as the U.S., and the U.S. has so much potential still. I just always recommend doing the U.S. When you find any product which you wanted to sell in that case, how do you find that particular supplier? You just search for the keyword, right? If you found a garlic press on Amazon through Jungle Scout or whatever, then you just go to Alibaba and you search Jungle Scout. You can watch the second module, Sue. I talk about exactly how to find manufacturers based on keywords, right? And if you find products on Jungle Scout, you'll see the keywords in their titles and things like that. Is there a way to have Amazon get your items ready to sell quicker? I shipped 500 units to Amazon warehouse like I was supposed to, but it looks like they ship my products all over the U.S. and it took about 3 weeks to get all 500 items ready to sell. No, there's not a way to expedite their intake process, and it's even slower during Q4. So you have to account for that when you are, you know, creating an inventory forecast for getting Q4 units ready. You know, you can pay for inventory placement, I guess, Joel, which basically means you pay a 30-cent per unit fee if it's under a certain size and weight, and you can send it all to one warehouse, even if they, assign you multiple warehouses. That sometimes can get it done faster. If you do get assigned one warehouse, usually it gets done faster. But Amazon normally drips in your inventory, right? It's not like it goes from 0 to 500. It'll go from 0 to 35 units available to 70 to 103, right? They kind of trickle in. So normally that happens over time, but it happens quickly enough that you can sell some units without all 500 being available yet. Could you explain your preferred legal entity, business, bank / credit account setup in order to optimize taxes, reward points, and legal liability? Yeah, that's a complicated question, Elliot. Let's go. So, the best way, in my opinion, I like to work alone. For the most part, I hire out a ton of different employees, but, the equity I always want to own 100%, right? I have a business partner now who is incredible, and he helps me so much, and it was a hard decision for me to give up percentages of the companies, but the best way, in my opinion, is an LLC, right, with an S-Corp election, because having it as an S-Corp, you can avoid paying, the 15% Social Security tax. As far as business bank, I use a couple different options, right? If you want to use the LLC, right, through Wyoming and you don't live in Wyoming, depending on what state you're in, they might not allow you to open a business bank account. Like, let's say if you live in California, but you have a Wyoming LLC, so because the LLCs in California are so much more expensive, they try to enforce you paying that to, get out of their tax debt. And so I use Chase. With an Oregon LLC, I opened Chase in California. Now I live in Colorado, right? So it's complicated. But you can use online banks like Ally and Capital One. And while they don't have, technical business checking accounts, for the most part, unless you're making a ton of money, it's not a huge deal. I think people get too hung up on getting everything perfect before they get started, right? If you're making like $500 a week or like $1,000 a week, having a checking account, getting money from Amazon is not going to be the end of the world that if it isn't a business bank. Yes, you should set up a business bank account if things start to get serious and you're making serious money, but don't let everything weigh you down and have everything be perfect before you get set up. As far as optimizing rewards points, there's no question about it. The best credit card in the world right now is unfortunately only available to people with American banks, and you have to normally have above a 725, but it's called the Business Inc. Preferred. They give you 3 points per dollar on up to $150,000 worth of expenditures in 1 year, right? And so they also give you an 80,000 point bonus for hitting the spending threshold. So guaranteed I'll make 530,000 points 100% per year, and you can get, you can go anywhere in the world for 80,000 points round trip, anywhere in the world using United Airlines, using Chase points. You can go anywhere in the world round trip for 80,000 points, and guaranteed this card is going to get you 530,000 per year. As far as legal liability, sorry, this is a long answer, but you asked a lot of questions, Elliot, so I hope I'm answering correctly. As far as legal liability, right, setting up a registered agent, the reason that I use Wyoming is because it's significantly more difficult to sue someone if you can't figure out who owns the LLC, right? And so people, use these registered agent services in Wyoming and places like Nevada and things like that because the LLC is public information in most other states, but in Wyoming, you use a registered agent. So my name appears nowhere on my LLCs, on any of them. And so having that additional barrier, obfuscating identity can really help if somebody, in like a crazy one-off case that somebody slips and like stabs themselves in the neck with like a toy or something and they die and they try to sue you, it's significantly more difficult to do so if they can't find, who you are based on your LLC, and normally that information is public. So to answer really quickly again, business bank, Chase and an online bank, credit card, Business Inc. Preferred, optimized taxes, LLC with an S-Corp election, reward points, Business Inc. Preferred, 530,000 per year, legal liability using a registered agent state like Wyoming. Do you typically ask the manufacturer to send you pictures during the production process? Yeah, I definitely do, Jason. I'm really, really annoying to manufacturers. Manufacturers must hate me because I make them do everything how they actually should do it, right? No manufacturer wants to sign a purchase order agreement. No manufacturer wants to agree to pay for a second inspection. But once you grind them down, it ensures that that there's actually quality for your product, right? Because they don't want to pay for a second inspection, so they'll make sure it's done right the first time. If you're taking pictures and videos during the production process, if you see their factory, it really significantly lowers the chances of you getting screwed over in some way. I'm trying very, very hard to find the products, and for sure, I think I'm an expert in looking for products and finding out the details of them. But that's about it. After that, I'm stuck to find the suppliers, are unable to go further because I'm scared whether it will sell or not. Well, I mean, the fear about whether or not it will sell, right, is answered and responded to using the 6 steps of product research. Once you have the data, if you have Google Trends, if you have Merchant Words, if you have Google Keyword Planner, you know how many times people are searching per month. You know how many different units per month all of the competitors on page 1 for those keywords are selling. You can see the sales with your own eyes. You can see the pattern. You can see how many times and how often these sellers are making these sales. You can tell exactly what their profit margin is by using the Amazon FBA fee calculator. So there's really nothing to be scared of when you have all of the data. People are scared about it not being able to sell because they don't do the due diligence to actually know for sure, right? Once I do the 6 steps of product research with my products, that's it. Right, I give it to my business partner, he finds the lowest price, and we go all in. There's nothing to be scared of at all if you have the data. And my purpose in life and my purpose with this course is to give you that confidence to know, once you have done the due diligence, once you have collected the necessary data, to know that that product is going to sell and to go all in on it, and then to really start building your business, right? And that's why I always say, yes, once you collect that data, show it to me. I'd love to take a look at it, right, and give you that final green light to give you that little boost of confidence that a lot of people kind of need at first to really go all in. What are your thoughts on James Harbaugh? I mean, he sounds, I don't know him personally, but, if what people are telling me is true about what he's doing with the algorithm to, exploit people who make mistakes with discount codes, right? And what I mean by that, guys, is if you're doing promotional codes, make sure that you're setting the max order quantity to 1, right? Because you don't want to have a 99% off coupon and then somebody like this guy, right? I don't know if he's doing it, but I keep hearing things about him that he's coming in and buying all 500 of your units for 99% off and then just reselling them on your listing, which is the epitome of poisonous business. And I truly hope he's not doing it. It would be really awful if he is, because he's just ruining people's lives. It's absolutely disgusting if he is doing that. I hope he's not. I don't know him personally, but the moral of the story, guys, is when you create promotional codes, set the max order quantity to 1 on your product listing, right? Make it an exclusive code. Make it limit 1 per customer, and you will be safe, right? Because somebody's not going to create 500 different Amazon accounts and buy 1 unit with all 500 different emails and things like that to wipe you out. It's so much easier to just do 1 order like people are telling me that this guy's doing. What is the order of keyword ranking spots, and how do you decide where to put what? Title, bullets, backend. It's title is the most important. You have 200 characters. It gives you the biggest bang for your buck, right? You use your search term report, whichever keywords are performing best, right? Whichever keywords have the most clicks, because the whole point of your title is not to make them buy, it's to make them click. So whichever terms have the most clicks for your product based off your search term report, right, from your PPC campaigns, that is what you're putting in the title, right? Your back-end keywords, you want to fill those all up with converters, right? The keywords that are giving you low ACoS, high sales, right? High click-through rate, high conversion rates. Bullets, same thing. Let's say you're selling a garlic press. Nice. I love this example already. Do you recommend selling the garlic press? Do you recommend selling the garlic press? Do you ever recommend selling it alone if it is successful for other sellers too, or do you always add value? Always, 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 always add value, Luis. There's no reason that somebody would buy from a brand new seller selling the exact same thing than somebody who already has 50 reviews, 100 reviews, 1,000 reviews, right? If you're going to sell the exact same thing, why would someone buy from you if you have significantly less reviews and you have to fight your way up to climb up the ranking to try to even compete with them, by being on page 1? always add value, always find ways to, make it worth it for the customer to take a chance on you when you do have lower reviews. Always, always, always add value. Do you recommend building a brand right off the bat? For example, selling only utensils and KitchenAid goods, or should I have one store selling multiple products in different niches and accumulate capital first? Because your modules on FB ads all seem like tools in building a brand name. Yeah, I mean, there's two different ways to do it. What I recommend, Bing, is, I am a huge fan of having multiple Amazon seller accounts, right? It significantly reduces your risk of, all of your income disappearing by Amazon clicking one button and suspending you, right, for an IP claim. And there's all these scumbags out there who will file false copyright pending reports and then take you down for an IP infringement, and it takes Amazon a month to realize that they lied, and for that whole month you have no income. So having multiple income streams with multiple Amazon accounts is a huge, huge help in that scenario, and I never want anybody, to be in a scenario where they get shut down for a full month and they don't have any backup streams of income. Amazon will generally allow you to have at least one additional seller account, right? You can open an account in your wife's or your husband's name. If you do that, make sure all the information is different: bank account, address, credit card, name, everything. To answer your question, I prefer having one account that has high margin products, right? So a garlic press, a trampoline, right? A basketball, a water bottle. So they're completely different, completely unrelated. And then I like to have a brand that sells, camping hammocks and like a camping stove and a camping backpack and things like that. So I like to have a brand account and I like to have a high margin account. Can you trademark a name that shows dead in USPTO? And how long does it take for the process to be trademarked? Also, what route would you suggest to do so? Lawyer, third-party website, self-applied. I use Trademarkia. There's a lot of intricacies to filing a trademark you don't want to get wrong, right? Because it's a very long process, like 6 to 10 months, Israel, to get the trademark filed, right? So I just use Trademarkia. It's like $150 extra for them to do everything, so it's totally worth it in my opinion. I have no idea if you can trademark the word dead in USPTO, but it's about 6 to 10 months, and I use Trademarkia to do so. It's not that expensive. Q4 scares me. I'm going to watch your Q4 video 5 times at least. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, Q4 is not scary. If anything, Q4 is the most exciting time for Amazon sellers, right? My first time doing Q4, I was not ready for it at all. I literally sold out of every single unit of every single one of my different products. All of them, 100% sold out. And, people underestimate the explosion of demand in Q4 on Amazon. Americans are very used to purchasing last-minute gifts on Amazon, right? It's very cheap. It's very convenient. Amazon hires a ton of extra people to come in and help fulfill orders. It's just ridiculous. Like, you can expect, if you're gift-related, which I always recommend people to be because it lowers your return rates because it's, taboo to return a gift. A lot of different reasons. Giftability, you can add luxury and premium, because people love each other and best friends. They're willing to spend a little bit more. But if you're a gift-related product, during Q4, it's not at all unreasonable to expect a 10 times sale jump, right? So if you're selling 2 units a day, it's not at all unreasonable to sell 20 units a day. If you're selling 10 units a day, it's not at all unreasonable to be selling 100 units a day. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but when you're doing your inventory forecasting for Q4 and you're gift-related, don't underestimate the power of Amazon. That is, most power sellers who are making, $1 million plus, 7 figures or higher, they do 50% or more in Q4, right? So for 75% of the year, they do 50%, and then 25% of the year, they do 50%. So think about that. It's very powerful. Don't underestimate it. It's a very exciting time, too. You shouldn't be scared. You should be excited. Can a Wyoming LLC allow an S-Corp election? Yeah, of course. Can you do a tax filing video, go into detail of the steps, how to organize all the data from Amazon feeds and sales and advertising, etc.? Yeah, I could. I mean, I have a low-key one. You can just use a tax jar. It tells you, how much you owe by state and things like that. As far as establishing Nexus, there's a report in Amazon that shows you, where your inventory is being held, and so it's not as complicated as people think. It's just very individualized because people live in different places and store their inventory in different places and have nexus in different places. FYI, Capital One is a great business banking account, but if you register online and because it's a domestic-only bank, you will not be able to send international bank transfers. This obviously won't work for private labelers where we typically pay the balance via TT. Yeah. So, I mean, this is the lazy way to do it, but, I've heard about people, who send international wire transfers with their personal accounts and then just reimburse that amount from their business account. Because it's generally cheaper, because to send international transfers for business bank accounts, you have to pay all these fees. So, just paying it from your personal account and then reimbursing it with your business account is an option. Kevin, I've heard people talking about how they plan on using their company name as their brand, so they only need one trademark versus having multiple trademarks and multiple brands. Could you explain what the deal is with this and what the pros and cons are? Yeah, so your trademark protects your brand name, Nathan. It doesn't protect your Seller Central account, right? If my Seller Central account is Kevin David and my brand is That Lifestyle Ninja, if I'm selling products that have That Lifestyle Ninja logos on them, right? If I'm selling these T-shirts, my trademark protects my Seller Central account by default because I'm selling brand-related products in my Seller Central account. Right, so if somebody's coming on as a hijacker, I could submit a infringement report, right, for that specific listing because it's That Lifestyle Ninja logo on the product. It has nothing to do with the Seller Central account itself, right? So if you have all brand related, if I'm selling a T-shirt with That Lifestyle Ninja, if I'm selling a watch with That Lifestyle Ninja, if I'm selling a phone case, they're all protected, because of the umbrella of the brand logo and brand name itself. It has nothing to do with Seller Central. Can we find the supplier for every single item listed in the Amazon? I mean, maybe not every single item, Sue, but yeah, for the most part, you definitely could. Would you consider sharing a redacted start-to-finish walkthrough of one of your product sourcing negotiations with a manufacturer? Yeah, definitely. That would be something I would definitely share. To be perfectly honest, I don't do a lot of the communication with suppliers anymore because I hate it, and my business partner does most of it. Because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to dealing with suppliers, so I'll never give them an inch, and so it takes me a week to negotiate with the manufacturers, and it takes my business partner 3 days because he gives them a little bit more room, and it just gets moving faster, and we can get a lot more products sourced. So it's just better for him to do it because it gives me high blood pressure and makes me want to kill myself. But if I want to change my niche after like 6 months or a year, then how could you have all the items listed in our page, or do we have to not sell the previous items? Sue, I'm not sure what you mean. Could you rephrase that down below? While trademark registration could take 6 months to a year, should we start selling while we're waiting, or is it better to start selling after getting the trademark? Definitely, 100% start selling now. Never ever wait, guys. The human brain is funny. It gives you all of these reasons to rationalize to yourself not getting started, right? Like, I'm just finishing this job. I'll get started right after. Or, I have this paper to write. I'll start working on my Amazon business right after. And Sheila, I'm not talking about you at all. I'm just talking about people in general. I was the same way. I just wanted to finish my time at the accounting firm before I started FBA. I wanted to finish the book I was reading, right? Don't ever let yourself rationalize waiting. Start today. Always start today. Always. Once your trademark comes, you'll be able to hit the hijackers hard, get them removed immediately, but there are ways to combat them until that happens. Cease and desist reports. I give you my exact report that I wrote, right? It has the English and Chinese versions. It really does a good job. I'd say the success ratio of taking down hijackers with it is probably about 95 or higher percent. And so it does a really good job. But yes, I always recommend, if you are serious about your brand, file a trademark now. It takes forever to get it. I know it's $450 and that sucks paying, but it will help you in the future. Relating back to another question about having 2 Seller Central accounts, I would assume you would start with the high margin account and then start a brand account. What do you need to do to set up the second seller account? If you want to do it completely legit and get Amazon's blessing, Nathan, I have the exact template that I use. I tell you the exact email. It's seller-performance@amazon.com. I think it's in module 8, and the video is called How to Open a Second Seller Central Account. Literally just copy and paste exactly what I wrote, change any brand specific stuff to yours, and then send it to the email address. I have the email you send it to at the top. It's super easy. What are some ways you add value to your product, and how do you know your bundle product will actually sell? How do you know what price to give it? I add value to my products in a variety of different ways, right? So you can use like the frequently bought together section to know what to bundle. You can compare, let's say it's a basketball and a basketball hoop. If the basketball hoop's $100, the basketball is $20. Maybe you sell them both for $115, or you sell them for $119.95. And instead of having to make two purchases, even though it's the exact same price, they'd rather buy your bundle. A good way to know how to add value to a product, Luis, is by looking at the negative reviews. So you can use the Jungle Scout web database to filter only for products that have, like a 3.5 stars or lower, and then look at the negative reviews. Filter by 1-star reviews, and you'll start to notice similarities. People will say, like it always breaks, or it cracks, or if the material's not thick enough, or it arrived broken, or the packaging sucked, or whatever they're saying. You'll notice similarities in those 1-star reviews, and you say, okay, I can improve on those things. I'll use a stronger quality material. I'll use more luxurious looking packaging. I'll add maybe a component to like the specific product to make it more easy to use. Those are ways you add value, and you use the customer reviews themselves. You don't have to be creative. You just look at what they're saying is wrong, and then you make it better. Do you use Zero in addition to Fetcher, or do you think they overlap too much? I don't handle much of the accounting either, Bjorn. My business partner and I have it split very beautifully. He does all of the sourcing, all of the product photography, and all of the accounting, and I find all of the products. I do all of the listing optimization, and I do all of the PPC and Facebook advertising. So we just do what we're good at. I don't know a ton about Zero, but I think he uses QuickBooks, and it seems to work well for us. And we have an incredibly complicated business now, just because we have so many different accounts and so many different products. Katie, what exact products do you sell so I can steal your market share? I sell fidgets only, actually. That's all I sell, Nick. So you can go ahead and steal that from me. Can my Seller Central account sell under multiple brand names? No, it can't, Nick. Your brand name, you can have multiple. So you could have a product that says That Lifestyle Ninja, and you could have a product that has a logo that says Kevin David, and you could sell both of those products in your account. But your store name, right? So like the example I always use in my videos is the Alpha Grillers garlic press. So when you see the garlic press, the store name is that link that you can click that says Alpha Grillers. That is their brand name, right? But you could have two different products with two different logos, and you could call that a brand name. But most people, when they say brand name, they mean the storefront name. Do I need a freight forwarder shipping my products out of China and another freight forwarder to carry my products into the United States, or does the shipping fee I pay to the manufacturers guarantee my shipment arriving to the freight forwarder in the USA? The shipping fee you pay to your manufacturer generally is just for FOB. So that means that they get your products to the port in China, not in the USA. They get your product from their factory in China to the port in China, and your freight forwarder takes over. You can use freight forwarders, that have offices in the USA and offices in internationally, and you have to talk to two different people, but they normally do everything for you. Most freight forwarders, you just have one point of contact, and they kind of handle it from the China port all the way to the Amazon FBA warehouse. If you pay EXW, that means that your freight forwarder picks it up off the ground in the China factory and gets it all the way to America. If you pay FOB, that means your freight forwarder picks it up in the port in China all the way to the Amazon warehouse in the USA. Do you need Zero for accounting and prepping taxes, or something similar to QuickBooks in addition to Fetcher, which focuses more on Amazon-specific seller metrics, or do you think they overlap too much? Wait, didn't you just ask this, Bjorn? I thought I answered this. I don't know a ton about Zero. I don't do the accounting and tax stuff very much. So maybe I'll have my business partner write something up for us. I did taxes myself before I had a business partner, and I just used TaxJar. And I did my accounting because it was a lot more simple, when I only had 17 products versus what we have now. It was a lot simpler. So I was just using Google Drive, like a Google Sheets, and TaxJar. But now it's obviously significantly more complicated, so we use accounting software, QuickBooks, and TaxJar. What if your frequently bought product is a liquid, example, vitamin C serum? Would you still bundle something like that or look for something else? It depends. What's the other product, right? I mean, vitamin C, I would assume, is a beauty product. So you'd have to be ungated, John. So if you want to tell me more about it, maybe I'd be able to answer that. But without knowing, I don't know if it would be a good bundle to have vitamin C. If it's frequently bought together, most likely the answer would be yes. Hey Kev, could you give me an approximate timeline of getting your rank up after a stock out? I know you talk about stock outs in the module, but you can give me an approximate time, it'd be awesome. If you stock out, right, there's a common myth that you want to keep raising your price higher and higher and higher and higher when you're about to stock out. That is absolutely incorrect. The way you do it is you leave everything exactly the same. If you know you're about to stock out, leave everything exactly the same, right? Do not raise the price to a ridiculous level. So just let it sell completely like normal until you're sold out, and then work extremely hard to get your product back in stock within 2 weeks. If you get your product back in stock within 2 weeks, even if you have to air ship it, you won't lose significant rank at all, and you'll be back up to your previous rank extremely quickly. Amazon historically notates your BSR as you stock out. And so people who raise their price super high, right, and they get less and less sales because of the price going higher and higher, their BSR is significantly lower and they're significantly ranked lower. So when they do restock, they start from that much worse ranking than if they had just sold like normal and maintained their higher BSR. Hey Kev, could you give me an oh, sorry, I just read that. So I hope that answered it, Slava. My supplier is asking for an Amazon postal code. Do I have to create the listing first in order to provide this information? An Amazon postal code? What does that mean? Do they mean like where's the Amazon FBA warehouse you're eventually going to ship it? You can answer that below. Is it better to move forward with a relatively low margin product if you've currently got no other prospects, or just go back to square one with product research? 30% isn't that low, Andrew. 25 is. I personally now, knowing what I know now, I would never source a product that I knew was less than 40%, right? Because with PPC margins and if you're going to do Facebook advertising with giveaways using Gleam.io and do all of the different methods that differentiate $1 million sellers from smaller time sellers, you need a larger budget of giveaways and a larger budget to get onto page one and maintain that ranking. And if you do that with a very low margin product, you're just not going to have enough return for the amount of work that it takes to create that. So I would never personally recommend anyone to go below a 40% margin. How do you bundle/sell ebooks with your product? How do you email your customer a link of the ebook when they order your product? You use email follow-up services, Mo. So, I use Zonmaster personally. They have an attachment, so you can attach your ebook as a PDF, or you can, link to it, I guess. But you want to attach it as a PDF because Amazon doesn't like links that take their customers to your own stuff. So just, attach it in your email follow-up campaign, so when they order your product, they get an email saying, like, here's your free ebook, like, download now, and it's like an attachment in their email, so it's pretty easy. I'm going to go back to YouTube for a second because there's no more questions. What's up, Auden? So I have about 10 more minutes, guys. Oh, wow, there's a ton of people still on YouTube. All right. Can we talk, email, or text? Let's do business. Yeah, man. Message me on Facebook. I love talking to everyone. Can you explain the difference between your brown belt and black belt groups? Is there a difference if I buy full or using payments? So the black belt group is for full course students. So if you buy the full course, whether it's by payment plan, by PayPal, whatever it is, if you buy the full course, you get into the black belt group. If you buy a single module, you get into the brown belt group. A question about max quantity. I noticed some products have max quantity sale limitations for each person for sale. I couldn't use the iTrack 9 and 9 method. Any thoughts on this? Yeah, there's two ways to get around this. The best way is to look at a competitor, right? And hopefully they don't have the max order quantity, and then iTrack them. The second best way is to use the camel sales chart to review the chart that they have, right? Because the camel has a way of kind of moving past the max order quantity, and it shows you, if they have a sustained very high BSR, that they have consistent sales over time. Can you go into detail on the one-on-one help/coaching we get with your products? It seems that there are many options for this same type of course. What makes yours the best? James, I don't ever try to convince people to buy the course. I think that people should make, decisions for themselves. Do the research yourself, right? Whoever you believe in, whoever's answering questions in the, most articulate way, then you can tell that they know what they're talking about. Read reviews on all the different courses. You want to, do the research for yourself. Don't trust anything I'm saying or what anyone else is saying, right? The one-on-one aspect and help, right, is this type of thing. I answer every single question that my students ask in the student group for Q&As that we do every week, right? I always try to be available on Facebook Messenger for any type of complicated questions. And so yeah, so I try to always be there for all of my students, and I think if you asked any of my students that they would say the same thing. I didn't. Is there a seller ban for Q4 from Amazon this year? Probably. It's usually around October 19th, but if you have a Seller Central account up and activated before that, you should be fine. Does the Sensei 500 discount code work? No, that one actually is expired, Justin. It's final 150 now, and you have to actually type it in. Sometimes copy and pasting doesn't work, so just type in final 150 with no space, and it should work. Oh my gosh, there's so many questions on YouTube. Do you have to trademark your store name? I just answered that. So you trademark your brand name, right? So if my brand is That Lifestyle Ninja, so I trademark That Lifestyle Ninja. Let's say that my store name is called Kevin David, right? So I could trademark that, but you want to trademark your brand name. I took Tanner's course due to a low budget. After my first product is a success, I will get your course. Thanks for everything so far. Oh, awesome, man. Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, yes, I look forward to having you join the group. To be honest, in my opinion, the best module is the PPC one, but honestly, the whole course is nuts. I'd 110% recommend it. Thank you. Let's trust the numbers. Tanner J. Fox Scammer is your screen name on YouTube. Wow, did something happen to you? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that did. What about the BSR off the Jungle Scout web app? Would that work as well, Kev? The BSR off the Jungle Scout web app does generally work, but you want the data, from the source. So you can see BSR on any listing on Amazon. You just have to look. Camel also has a historical chart it shows you for BSR, which is generally more helpful because you can see it kind of over time, which helps. P.S. Thanks for the videos and do another Denver meetup. Yeah, the Denver meetup was so much fun. There was I didn't expect so many people to come, but everybody showed up. I had no idea there were so many people here. But yeah, no, I'd love to meet up with everyone. We're actually planning kind of a paradise retreat for all of the students who want to join. Right, it's not going to be like all the other gurus out there who are charging people 10 or 25 grand to come to these 2-night events and they profit a bunch off of it. It's going to be, I'll organize everything and then I'll literally just pass on the charges if it costs, $3,000 to stay and to have all of the different events and stuff per person. That's the only charge. I'll never ever make a profit on that. But we will have a super fun kind of meetup somewhere in a tropical area within the next few months. I promise. I am in the process of planning that right now. Have you already closed the course? Are you extending it for a few more days? Need to wait to get paid this month before I can purchase it, but sucks if it closes today. Yeah, so Vikram, I've gotten so many messages just like that. I don't know. I need to do some soul searching tonight. I will think about it, and I will kind of make sure to tell everyone what the decision is. I would feel really terrible locking people out because as you guys know, all I care about is helping people get out of the 9-to-5 spiral, and by doing, if my course is helping people do that, then I want to keep doing it. But at the same time, I want to keep providing as much possible value to every single one of my current full course students at the same time. So I need to do some soul searching. Do you have any? Oh my gosh, there's so many questions. I'm down. I'm invested in another course. Wouldn't mind joining yours as well. What do you offer that's best value for someone with limited funds? Full course? Yeah, no, I mean, I created the course in a modular fashion to accommodate both people who have, tighter budgets and people who have a little bit less tight budgets. I recommend, if you're on a super tight budget, just grab the first module. I go super in depth with a ton of different strategies on how to find the best products. And if you like it, if you like my style of teaching, if you're learning, then maybe upgrading to the full course makes sense for you. Obviously, or not obviously, but I refund every single individual module. So if you decided to buy module 1, but then you decided you wanted the full course later, I will 100% refund that first module for you. So no worries at all. And all courses and all modules and everything comes with a 30-day money back guarantee. So obviously there's not a ton of risk. I accidentally purchased the course with the Sensei 500 code, but I wanted to use the final 500. Yeah, of course. Just email the support, Justin. They'll refund you the difference immediately. There's no worries at all. We try to be as good as we can to all of our amazing customers. I'm gonna jump back into the student course really quick just to make sure there's no more questions in here. We'll do about 10 more minutes, guys. We've already been on for about 70 minutes right now. My vocal cords are about to fail. Should I start selling with one product and focus more of my budget on the PPC campaign, or should I start with 3 products and build my portfolio? I would say build your portfolio, right? People who have been following my story, I guess, know that I simultaneously launched 7 different products, all at the start, right? So all 7 arrived in the same shipment. I saved money on the shipment, right? I launched in a very large way. Some people would say that the risk was too great in that specific methodology of launching, but I was quite sure about the business model. I was very passionate about creating this business. I knew that it was going to work. I did all the due diligence to know for sure, right, using the 6 steps of product research to know for sure that these products are going to sell. I didn't feel like there was very much risk, and obviously, it paid off, and I, was able to generate my initial investment back very quickly, and then just use all of the additional profits to continually launch more and more and more products. My LLC should be finalized at the end of this week. I already created an email and Skype account with my LLC name, and I'm contacting suppliers tonight. Should I get some business cards made up? How does the business card thing work with Alibaba? Business cards for who, Zach? Could you answer it below? Kevin, what do you do if you get a patent infringement from Amazon that isn't legit, but the complainer does not agree to tell Amazon to lift the ban on the product? Yeah, I mean, this is exactly why I have multiple products or multiple accounts, right? One of my original accounts, I got an IP claim for a image in an inactive listing because Amazon's image recognition software is incredibly advanced, and I bought an image from a product photographer that sold it to multiple people, and so I got an IP claim, and my account got shut down for a month until I finally got it back up. And Amazon, all of these awful things, communicating with Amazon, creating like a plan of action, which is basically like a timeout from Amazon. And so, that's why I always recommend having multiple accounts. You can message me personally about that. Patent infringement obviously sucks so badly. I'm so sorry you have to deal with that. But I have contacts who deal with nothing but that as far as patent infringement, intellectual property infringement, and they can get your seller account back up. It's not always inexpensive to do so, but it's worth it normally. How much capital am I looking at to start? With all these softwares and PPC costs, I feel like I haven't saved up enough. I generally recommend $1 to $6 grand for your initial products, right? The more you invest, intelligently, the more quickly you'll recuperate that initial upfront capital. The only software you really need at first is Jungle Scout, in my opinion. There's merchant words and there's things like that, but there's free alternatives. I'm sure students in the groups might be sharing some of these softwares. I don't recommend that out of moral standpoints, but it's important to be able to launch your products efficiently. So you can't do that unless you have the money for it. Hey Kevin, I purchased the full course a few weeks ago. How do I get into the black belt group? Yeah, Jamie, just email support. We'll get you the quote for it. How do I create multiple coupon codes for one product? Let's say I'm giving giveaways of 20 products. How do I create multiple coupon codes? Oh, nice, Auden, you already answered that. Kev, how come you have 2 first names? Nick, can you actually ask a real question for once in your life? Nathan Daly, Jamie, just ask yeah, of course. Can we all use Chase Inc. business points to go on the Paradise Retreat? Yeah, that is what I'm talking about, Nick. That's how we do it, right? Because Chase Business Inc. Credit cards, 80,000 points as a bonus for just spending money you'd already spend. It's incredible, right? And I'm a huge proponent of utilizing credit card points. I've been able to travel to pretty much every continent, except for Antarctica, just using points, for free, like these $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 flights. just using credit card points. It's a huge way to be able to see the world, and having these business expenses, right? Using your credit card to pay for your PPC on Amazon, pay for ads on Facebook, all these different things. Is a huge way to be able to travel the world for free, which is a beautiful thing. Were all 7 of your products from the same manufacturer? They actually were, yeah, Andrew. You can find these mega manufacturers in China who just make so many different products. It's ridiculous. Like, they're cities, basically. And so, I got lucky. I found a really amazing guy, and he was honest with me. We had a big argument about all the different prices, obviously, because I, never give suppliers an inch. But once we finally came to an agreement on all these different prices and stuff, it was a beautiful relationship. We were both profiting, and everything was good. Who's your business partner? I might reveal that eventually, Nick. But for now, he prefers to remain private. I've heard some suppliers require the buyer to supply them with a business card. Do I need to get created to get suppliers to take me seriously? No, absolutely not, Zach. I've never once given a supplier a business card, and I never would. When are you doing the Q&A for Canadian selling in the U.S.? Sometime this week, Bing. I'm not sure exactly when, but it will be in the student group. I'll notify all of you guys, obviously, as always. So don't worry, you won't miss it. Just make sure if you see me post in the brown belts and the black belts group, to just check it out if you are interested, and we will get that for you guys this week. I'm going to jump back into YouTube for a few seconds. I have about 3 more minutes. Do the case study. Oh yeah, no, okay, so I'm starting a case study that I'm going to release on YouTube for everyone. And it's going to kind of go through the entire process, finding a product, finding a supplier, right, sourcing it, shipping it, right, dealing with the freight forwarder, creating the listing from scratch, right, doing all the keyword research, doing the back-end keywords, doing the product launch, setting up the email campaigns, right, and then doing the PPC campaign. So I will do that case study similar to kind of to what Greg did with the $1 million case study. We will create one. It's going to be amazing. So I hope you guys are excited for it. It is coming, I promise. I just have a few more things I have to kind of get done first. Future plan for course regarding affiliate marketing. If I close the course, to new entries, obviously the affiliates that have already made sales will obviously get paid everything. If I decide to keep the course open, affiliate marketing will continue as normal. And I actually have some interesting stuff that I will eventually share with my top affiliates that is going to be very profitable for the people who take advantage of it. If I buy the course but don't have a Facebook, how do I find out suppliers, etc.? Or is all that information in the course? Yeah, I mean, we actually have a lot of people, Taylor, who made Facebooks specifically to join our student group. It's a huge help, right? It's not just me. It's a ton of other people in the same places as you. You can exchange reviews together. I'm constantly adding new data to the course itself, and I announce that on Facebook. You don't even have to add a picture. Just set up any type of Facebook that you want with no picture. We probably have like 50 or 100 people that have no pictures, nothing, like one friend on Facebook, and they just join to be a part of our community, because it's incredibly important for Amazon sellers or for any types of entrepreneurs to have that community, that sense of community. And it's important. Facebook takes like 1 second to set up. I know some people hate Facebook, but trust me, it's worth it, Taylor. Is the case study going to be in the course or on YouTube? It's going to be on YouTube. So I add the important stuff that I do on YouTube just to the extras section that I give away in the course, just so everybody kind of has access to it. But the case study is going to be on YouTube, and I'm going to continue to add very, very awesome, more advanced stuff to the course itself, as I've been doing, daily or weekly. And I update all of the different stuff that I add with timestamps, so people know, when I'm adding new content and when what to check out. Thanks, Kevin. I think you've sold me on your course. Awesome, Scott. Well, I'm excited to have you. Yeah, I made a Facebook just to be in the group. Yeah, see? That's awesome. At Scott Cravens. Goran, I see your affiliate marketing in my chat box. Come on, man. Keep the course open. 1K is pocket change for you. It's a lot of savings for us. I mean, it has nothing to do with the monies. Whether or not somebody buys my course is not going to change my life financially right at all. It's more about just being able to refocus like all of my time on my current students, helping everyone one-on-one. I've been able to do that, but there's an eventuality that I won't be able to accommodate everyone with a one-on-one help that I want to be able to provide, right? If I keep it open forever, so I eventually am going to close it down regardless. So just so I can give everyone the one-on-one help that they need. I emailed the support group with credit card authorization, but have not gotten a response. When will payment be taken? I'll make sure to follow up on that after this. How many students do you have now? We have just over 600. Can you name the 6 steps? Yeah, it's in the common questions document. Kev, if I only buy one module and buy the rest later, can I still get the $925 or so rest of the modules? Yeah, so we'll have the $997 USD available, and we refund all of the individual modules if you do decide to upgrade to the full course. Yes, sir. Hey, Kev, how long a dangerous review takes? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Goran used to, oh, dang, closing it for good. Feel like some of us will be left out. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, it's a really tough decision. I have to do some thinking about that, Zeno. I never ever want to, leave anyone out. I want to help as many entrepreneurs as I can, right? Every single person who leaves their 9-to-5 job and leaves that slavery and 50-hour, 80-hour weeks behind is just a huge, huge, source of happiness to me. So I never want to leave anyone behind. Okay, I'm going to answer a few more questions in the Facebook groups, and then I'm going to shut it down for today. If you regularly sell 10 pieces a day, how many do you prepare to sell a day before the holidays? AKA, how much more of a product do we need to have in stock before the holidays? It depends. I mean, if you're gift related, Yulia, right? Like, let's say you're selling like a necklace for that says like mommy or something like that. During Mother's Day, obviously you're going to sell 10 times more at least. During Christmas, if you have a gift-related product like for your mom or dad or anniversary or something in that specific realm, you can expect between a 2 and 10 times in sales. So if you're selling 10 a day, you have a gift-related item, you're probably going to go more towards 100 a day during that prime time week before Christmas for sure. Yes, very excited about the case study. Awesome. Yeah, I always want to continue adding as much possible value to all of you guys. Whatever you guys vote on that you want me to do, all the students obviously, whatever you vote on for the next video, I'm more than happy to do that, as I have for the past 6 weeks or whatever it's been with all the different videos I've made. Kevin, have you ever considered keeping the course open but hiring on a few people as a team of question answerers who you've interviewed and determined have had as much success and good knowledge on Amazon FBA? So that's actually a really interesting question, William. I would be incredibly selective about who I chose to do that, right? It would have to be somebody who I've known since I started, right? I have a mastermind that I don't share very often that has, 80 7-figure sellers in it, and I've known them all for, almost 2 years now. And so it would definitely be somebody from that group who I know is doing, $1 million, 10 million plus a year on Amazon, who knows in and out, who's constantly in the trenches, who knows everything about everything, right? So if I do ever choose to add someone, I want everyone to know that I would put them through a very rigorous interview process, and that they would be, incredibly knowledgeable about Amazon if I do choose to do that. What's the Q4 multiplier for non-gift items? I would say between 2 and 5%, Andrew. If I set up an LLC or corporation, does that mean I have to pay myself salary in order to extract the profit for myself? Is it better to pay personal tax compared to corporate tax? Yeah, so LLCs by default are pass-through entities. So I mean, you can Google this stuff for yourself, Bing. I don't, these questions aren't particularly complicated, right? You can just ask your accountant or just Google it, right? But LLCs are pass-through entities, and so if you don't want to pay corporation tax, you don't want to be a C corp. But S corps obviously save you on Social Security tax. So if you have 6 figures or higher, it's worth it for sure. So I'll do one more question in the Facebook group and maybe a few more out of YouTube. Is he getting to 7 figures just finding what works and scaling it up? Who do you mean, Mike? If I buy the product research module and you decide to sell it, would I still be able to upgrade to the full course? I think you mean if you decide to close it. Yeah, and yeah, you would be able to. All right, guys, I'm going to do one more question in the Facebook group, and then I am done for the day. My vocal cords are about to collapse in my throat. So you're saying there's a chance. Good to hear that there is a chance for a hope for the course remaining open. Yeah, there's a chance. I need to talk to some, of my business partners, see if anybody would be interested in coming on as, an expert coach to help me kind of answer questions. And so I need to do some thinking. I will let you guys know what I decide very soon. I want to help everyone, obviously, but at the same time, I want to prioritize my time for the people who are already a part of the group. And so you guys will know by tomorrow morning what is going to be the final kind of decision. Looking forward to the Canadian AMA session. Please do it in the evening. Yeah, I will. So we'll have that later on this week. So don't worry about that, guys. We're going to have the 7-figure Canadian seller on for at least, by Wednesday or so, we'll have him on to answer all of your guys' questions. I saw that huge thread in the student group about, all the different Canadian sellers. So I hope this helps you guys. He's a super smart guy, and he's going to be answering everyone's questions. He told me that he'd stay on as long as it took. So that is it for today. I love you guys as always. Thank you guys so much on YouTube. Wow, we still have 175 people watching at the very end of an 88-minute stream. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Mondays, and we will see you next time.